Is it clearly visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Uh, so in my previous class, I was talking about mobile information design, where I was giving information about information display. Okay, then I was talking about the various the contents and the kind of navigations that you have to do it. Under navigations, what are the different communicators panels, fixed menu, okay, then dynamic menus, okay, then scrolls, okay, then typography, what is the usage of it, okay, then what is this advertising. Okay, so these informations were discussed about this information's mobile design in the previous class. Okay, and I was also talking about what is a design pattern, where you can resolve the problems which occurs very frequently, and what kind of solutions you can give it. What are the different kinds of the design patterns that are available? Okay, like MVC, then MVP. Okay, so like this, and of course the Viper. So like this, there were different kinds of um, the design patterns were discussed. Okay, so and also I talked about what are the type of interfaces that you should have it, okay, and how it has to be used. Okay, and I was also talking about the contents, okay, how the contents needs to be placed. What are the notifications? So there are different kinds of notifications which are available. So in order to improve the interface in the mobile devices with respect to the various screens. Okay, so what kind of feedback has to be given and how it has to be deployed, and other thing were discussed in the previous class. Also I discussed about intervening scenes, where there was discussion about home screen and splash screen, as well as loading screen. Okay, so this was the broad informations what I discussed in the previous class with respect to a mobile interface. So today, let us talk about what is this social aspects of mobiles. Okay, this social aspects. See, everybody wants to be connected. Okay, everybody wants to be socially connected with your friends, colleagues, communities, and etc. This social networking and the social media, like say Facebook or say WhatsApp or maybe LinkedIn. Okay, so there are various kinds of apps which are available. Okay, for social connecting socially across the globe with various communities, which can add value to the user's experience. Okay, so various users experience while spreading about the various ideas and building reputations through different types of social networks. See, if socialization is not the primary function of any mobile applications, then I think there is no need of any kind of mobile devices. Okay, and we don't require any kind of mobile platforms as well. So we would like to have some kind of a platform where we can share the informations very easily and immediately with all category of users and communities. So, for example, if you are using a WhatsApp, okay, so what's instead of you going to a system, typing, opening your Gmail or whatever the application, it takes lot of time. Okay, it consumes lot of time. So we would like to send and receive the information very quickly. Okay, so that is one of the the major feature why this mobile application is being developed. Okay, when you are considering any social aspects of mobiles, say it can be social aspects in the sense what kind of interactions that we can have with the community people. Okay, we can use WhatsApp, we can use LinkedIn. Okay, we can use a WeChat, Share Chat. So many community applications are available to different kinds of the users based scenarios. So when I'm talking about usability, it is all about the functional capabilities of a mobile device. Okay, what is this functional capabilities? Functional capabilities are nothing but the features where in each kind of mobile devices, certain aspects are being developed. Say for example, every mobile devices will have its own features from the model's perspective, from the user's perspective, from the application's perspective. So there are different kinds of the perspectives from which you can think about the usability. How easy it is for the end users to use the mobile devices. See, if functions cannot be discovered, what do you mean by functions cannot be discovered? That means if you are not getting whatever the features that you wanted in a very quick manner, okay, then probably that model or that interface might not be well suited for the specific mobile devices. If the fonts or the information displayed is very very small, that means it is very difficult to read, then I don't appreciate that kind of an interface. And if the information is very large that gets displayed in the mobile devices, it will be a cluttered information. Okay, so it is not possible for the end user to use the applications very effectively. See, even though there is an option for zooming in and zooming out of any applications while you are using that information in a mobile device, but in a real world applications and with a limited dexterity, okay, usable applications will not be so much effective, okay, when you are talking from terms of functional capabilities. Say for example, how many of you can quickly send a message maybe with say 100 words in the as an SMS or whatever you call it in the WhatsApp message. See, some of them can use it very quickly. Okay, some of the users can be a little bit slow in that. Some of the users feel very difficulty in using such kind of typing or the specific applications. Okay, so thus, usability considerations can be understood from three different entities. One is determining and reaching target audience, designing for gestures, and error protection and control. So basically, you have to remember whenever you are designing any applications which can be made run on the mobile platform, how easy it is for end users. Now end users means so for what category of people you would like to use social apps, how your social applications are different from the existing applications, what are the different functional features that you are going to put it in your social apps. So this talks about usability. And more than this usability, you should also have a reliability of the informations. Okay, so that is also very important. Okay, first let us talk about what is this determining and reaching a target audience. As I said, whenever you are developing social kind of applications, you should know who are the users. Okay, see, for every applications that you develop, there should be one or the other end user. And if there are no end users, then there is no point in developing any kind of applications. And you are developing applications because there are certain drawbacks or lacunae in the existing social based applications. So in order to make your applications very popular and have a very wide coverage and usage of your application, you should know who are the users. Okay, in fact, you should also consider different geographical locations. What do they need in that specific applications? So that means you should be able to extract the requirements. from that category of users. So for example, I'm developing applications where students of maybe this college of this department, or the students of this college of different departments, or students of different colleges, say engineering colleges, or students of only MCA group, or students of MCA group of all colleges, all affiliated or autonomous institutions under VTU, or students of all engineering branches, etc. Are they, if they are the target users, so what kind of requirements they will be having it? The information will be like, I must be able to get some kind of a study material. I must be able to get some kind of forum discussions. I must be able to get the links for some softwares. I must be able to get the informations about the previous year's question papers. Okay, I must be able to get information with respect to placements that is happening in different institutions. Maybe it so happens that placement, say for example, say Capgemini would have come this week to say RV College of Engineering. Okay, and maybe for your BMS IT it will be coming in next week. The students of RV College of Engineering can share what was the placement process, what kind of aptitude questions is being asked, what kind of quantitative questions can be asked. Okay, so this information can be shared. So since there are very wide users for this specific group, and this information will be very much useful to all the concerned stakeholders. The stakeholders in the sense here are the students. Okay, and how effectively it is, how they can use it. See, because whatever you do, there will be always positives and negatives. So I mean to say plus and minuses. Okay, so you take positives and you just leave negatives. Okay, so some of the students might give some kind of information which might not be authenticated. So why can't we have a mechanism to check whether the information sent in the group is very genuine or not? So this kind of information is very much important when you are developing a social applications. And it is very important to consider the different hardwares and usage patterns, because what happens when this application is being developed, so the students might use sometimes tablets, sometimes Android based laptops, or the models of different devices, okay, with the different in screens. So when this kind of application is being developed, so there should be a compatibility with the hardware and software components also. So this kind of application should connect people with a varieties of functional features, and as well as providing personalized functionalities. So in this social networking kind of applications, it can be information related to anything, okay, which the group finds it is very much useful. Okay, basically it will be from educational perspective. Similarly, if the application is being developed for a e-commerce vendors, so then there should be information related to registration, there should be information related to procurement process, there should be information related to business meetings. Okay, so there should be information related to various other business related matters. Okay, so like this, depending upon the kind of the target audience that you have, so for that specific purposes you are required to develop an applications. Okay, so this usage of this mobile application should be made very easy. Okay, so that it will help the users to perform the specific tasks that are appropriate for every mobile devices. Okay, so these mobile devices can quickly involve finding the current informations under certain deadlines. Maybe it might require some kind of privacy and communications with other people also. So therefore, there should be a strategy from mobile developers who they can think that what kind of users will use this kind of application to a larger extent. So in nutshell, I would like to say that before developing a social based kind of an application through a mobile interface, so you should understand what are the requirements of the end users. So that is about determining and reaching the target audience. Next is designing for gestures. Yes, this is very difficult. In fact, the reason being is whenever you just try to search for information that you are looking for, will have different kinds of gestures, and everybody do not like a same type of gestures. So the gestures, what I mean is, it can be a tapping on certain icons, it can be a pinching, it can be a swiping, or it can be a zooming. These are the different the gestures where the user will be users in the sense the end users will be using it. See, when I want to have certain information, instead of swiping or tapping or pinching or zooming, by just clicking on one button, okay, I must be able to get all the required information or shift between the slides. Say probably in different devices, if you are opening a number of applications. So for example, you have opened Amazon app, you have opened YouTube app, okay, you have opened the Gmail app, okay, you have opened some say other Google app. So you have used so many apps, okay, but there should be a provision to shift between the various screens or pages. So I told in the previous class also, I use interchangeably these pages and screens. Both are one and the same. Whatever the screen that you see on the mobile device can also be considered as a mobile page. Okay, now different devices, different models will have a different way of using it. So, and it is not possible to have one kind of a gesture for all kinds of applications. Say example, if you clicking on a contact, okay, if I'm clicking on a contact, so I must be able to get the phone numbers for which I'm looking for. Okay, and if I want to search something within the contact, okay, I must be given a provision to the swipe or pinch option. Okay, so in the home screen you can give it a gesture like a tap, but when you go inside you can give pinch. And if you are reading any message, okay, so if there's a provision to zoom, you have to zoom. Maybe if somebody has sent some kind of an image, okay, or some kind of a textual information which is in a very less font size, okay, so there should be provision to zoom. So what I mean to say here is, so there are different mobile gestures, and these mobile gestures should be made very compatible with different screen sizes. See, if you are targeting an area where you cannot read a complete information like how you are seeing now within the small screen, then you have to zoom it. What happens if you just try to zoom? So at one stretch, it is not possible to see all the contents of the screen. Either you have to swipe left to right, or right to left, or you have to swipe from top to bottom or bottom to top. So this kind of the gestures you have to do it. But again, it depends upon the type of apps that you are doing it. So, but you have to be very sure to consider what is the actual target area when you are designing the mobile gestures. The actual target area for touch input may be larger than the perceived target area. As I told, see, the information that you see in 4-inch screen will be something different, and the same information if you see in 6-inch will be something different. If you see the same contents in the say 10.1 inches say tablet, it will be different. The contents remain same, but in 10.1, you can see all the information at one place in one screen. Maybe in 6 or 7 inches you can screen, but in 4-inch screen, so you cannot see it. So if you are developing the mobile interface in such a way that when the people are posting some information, so if it's a 4-inch screen, the end users must be able to zoom in. Okay, they must be able to zoom within a 4-inch screen. If the end users are using say 5-inch, maybe to some extent you can screen, not in the extent where you need to swipe for a 4-inch screen. If you are looking at say 10.1 inch screen, so you need not do any kind of swiping or zooming or whatever that is required. So depending upon the content of information, so you have to set the the target area. Okay, so it also depends upon the finger errors, maybe other applications errors as well. So what is the actual input area and what is the target input area? So that means, see, because of this mobile device application, there was also a demand for testing job from the mobile application. So every mobile companies who are developing apps, okay, or manufacturing the mobile devices, they have a different unit called as a mobile testing lab. That means there is also a tester earlier, way back, say some 8-10 years back. Testing means we were just talking about only functional testers, okay, where you do only white box and black box testing with different intermediates of kinds of testing, like unit testing, okay, integration testing, okay, smoke testing, okay, so regression testing, etc. But now the trend has been changed. Okay, so we have a networking testers, we have a mobile testers. So like this, there are a lot of different kinds of testing activities that takes place. That means you should try to test your application and the interface in different devices. So what kind of contents it should have, okay, how it should be made fit within the given input area, okay, with respect to the target audience. So what kind of security features needs to be added? So all these things, information has to be imbibed, okay, within the mobile interface scenario. That is about designing for gestures. Okay, next is error protections and error control. See, all of you know that whenever you are using mobile devices, okay, so the fingers that you use on the different icons, sometimes it will be little bit cumbersome. Cumbersome, I mean, is a little bit difficult. Okay, the kind of smoothness that you have in 4-inch screen will be definitely different from a 6-inch screen or 10.1 or 7.1 inches screens. Okay, so in different places, it is required to provide the appropriate menus, buttons, links, and the appropriate scrolling also. Otherwise, it will lead to errors. See, one thing I was just pointing out in my previous classes, that if there is a short proximity between two icons, and when you just try to put the fingers, maybe either one of this at the extreme ends of an icon, it will work. But if you just try to put your finger in between the pixels of two icons, probably the applications might not work. So every process or every app that you design should be in such a way that it needs to protect the user input. That means, see, the input is your finger for any mobile devices. Okay, so the mobile developers or mobile interface that gets developed by this organization should have a proper the levers to place different icons at the appropriate place, so that interfacing a design will be very simple. Why? Because to simply retrieve the informations. Otherwise, it is really very frustrating, and it takes a lot of time in reproducing, and it's a time consumption process. So sometimes what happens, it also becomes slow for various reasons. Suddenly it may get, and suddenly there might be some hardware failure, suddenly there might be some software failure. Sometimes it so happens that when you just try to update one applications in the existing mobile device, so it may lead to a lot of problems or might have an impact on other applications too. Okay, so sometimes it happens like this. So how do we provide the solutions for such kind of the errors that gets frequently happening in the mobile devices? Okay, so in nutshell, how effectively you can design a mobile interface in different screens for the smooth transition and flow of information for different end users in different screens. So that is all about usability. Okay, any clarifications here? Anybody has any clarifications? Okay. Go to this menti.com, and I want to answer this question. Choose the odd man out with respect to social aspects of mobile. The code is 2825. Please go to menti.com and use the code 283825. Out of three, one is irrelevant to social aspect. What is that? Okay, just try to answer that question. So we'll just proceed further. So next I will be talking about accessibility, which is very important. Okay, so the next social aspect of mobile is accessibility. Okay, see, any application that is easier for the people should be with a clear vision. Okay, with more dexterity. So dexterity in the sense, it is a skill for usage by hands. So as I told with respect to usability, that some of you are very fast in usage of mobiles, some are very slow. Okay, some of them are very medium in usage of that. Okay, so accessibility is the way where you can reach to a masses. Okay, so accessibility is a way where you can reach the masses, and you see that you try to retain the existing users and as well as acquire the new users. This accessibility in the mobile devices has got a guidelines. That guidelines is called as POUR, POUR. That means perceivable. P stands for perceivable, O stands for operational, U stands for understandable, and R stands for robust. What is perceivable? That means when you are putting the information for the public or for the community for the usage, okay, so you should have understood the needs of user requirements, okay, and based on that the information should be made available to the end user. And as an end user, I must know that if I'm giving this kind of a poll or opinion or information, how it is going to have an impact on the community, so how I'm going to perceive it. Next is operational. Okay, operational is, it's all about the operational aspects of usage of that specific contents or information. So, for example, now somebody would have designed results kind of mobile applications where you just try to put your USN number and you are going to get your the results of that specific semesters. So here there are two things. So depending upon the the USN of that specific student, the information has to be retrieved. And if that specific user is not available for whatever the purpose, okay, it should give some kind of an information that this USN is not a valid USN. And the understandable, U means understandable. Okay, so the understandable means what are the contents, informations, and the access levels that is being provided should be understood by all the relevant stakeholders. See, there might be different stakeholders in usage of the applications. So every user will have his or her role and responsibility to use this specific mobile applications. That means there should be a clear cut rules and regulations how these applications can be used. Okay. Similarly, robust. Robust is more reliable, more qualitative data. So if something happens, I mean to say, if some unavoidable things happens, if accidentally something happens when you are using an applications, so how reliable your application is. Say for example, there might be an app where you are trying to pay the electricity bill or mobile recharges, etc. So you are going to give your mobile number, your card number, and other UPI numbers and CVC number. So after taking all these things, if you are not getting the required responses within the stipulated time, then the user should not be panic. The application should not allow the users to be panic. Okay, so that kind of information has to be displayed to an end user. So accessibility guidelines, especially a web accessibility content guidelines, fall is based on four principles, that is POUR, perceivable, operationable, and understandable, and robust. This is about accessibility. Accessibility has got checkpoints. Okay, there are two aspects which you should think about it. One is the checkpoints, and other is all about hearing, vision, speech, dexterity, and the cognition. Very important is the checkpoints. So there are 5 checkpoints for the mobile accessibility. One is the overall behavior, navigation and links, page layout and contents, page definition, and the user input. These are the 5 checkpoints for the mobile accessibility. Let us just talk about one by one. This overall behavior is the independent of us devices. How this mobile applications or features is going to work based on this accessibility guidelines. Okay, for so you have to consider a very general mobile experience. Suppose if I ask you, can you give me one mobile or suggest me one mobile which will satisfy all my needs? Okay, so it is not possible to give such kind of very generic answer. I cannot tell that okay, you take this iPhone 7 and it is best in everything. No, I cannot tell like that. So the behavior of each and every user with respect to mobile features is totally different. What I mean to say is, if I'm using the mobile, so if clarity in camera is very good with high pixels, then I say this mobile device is very good. Somebody is keen about the voice clarity in the mobile devices. Somebody might be looking for the features of the mobile. Somebody will be looking about the usage of the various applications on the mobile devices. So like this, there are different tastes, different behaviors, okay, for different kinds of mobile devices and users. Somebody will be looking for the consumptions of battery power. Okay, so since there are different category of features which are available each and every mobile devices, so it is left to the discretion of a specific user to think about it. But all said and done, what are the common features that are available in the in the mobile devices? The checkpoint might be, what is the kind of camera clarity that the people will be looking for? Reasonable camera behavior. Okay, not very high end. Okay, reasonable camera behavior. If they are paying say around say 8,000 to 15,000 rupees mobile devices, what is the typical features, typical camera clarity it should have? Okay, what should be the voice clarity? What should be the battery consumption? Okay, so if it's less than 5,000 rupees, it will be something different. If it's above 5,000 to 10,000, it will be something different. So if you checking the mobile with say more than 20,000 rupees, it will be something different. But all said and done, if the features are working very reasonably with whatever the cost of mobile, then we can say that to some extent the mobile is reasonably good and it can be usable by many people. Next is the navigation and links. Okay, here how easy for the user to interact with the mobile interfaces with many hyperlinks on the interface. That means how easy for different end users. If student is using it, how it is easy for him. If a senior person is using it, how easy it is. If if a kid with say less than 5 years, how we'll be using it. So see, there are different kinds of users. How easy you can make your interface, mobile interface on the screen, so that everybody can use it very easily. And this easy means it is a very subjective issue. Easy for me might not be easy for you. Easy for you might not be easy for somebody. Okay, so that easy means reasonably okay, it is easy to use it. Okay, so that is what this navigation and links means. Next is a page layout and contents. So here, actually this was discussed earlier also in the information display, how the contents can be designed on each page, and how the various pieces of content informations are laid out for reasonable and accessible consumptions. So there are different kinds of, the labels, which you can set in different screen sizes on the mobile platforms. So how easy you can make the contents to be visible irrespective of a screen size. So I can have a vertical viewing of the mobile, or I can have an horizontal view of viewing. That means in some of the mobiles you will have this LCD kind of a display. You will have a full high definition kind of a screens. Okay, so it will give you different perspectives of the viewport on the mobile devices. Basically, how well you can design the contents on the each screen size. Next is page definitions. Okay, page definitions are nothing but defining content areas for mobile device interpretation. So that means how you should put the layout for displaying the information in a specific layout. So layout, I meant to say, I was talking about this in previous classes about constraint layout, a relative layout, a table layout, a linear layout, etc. Okay, how you can put the contents of the informations within the small screen size, so that everybody can interpret what is the meaning of that content in that specific layout. So that is what about page definition. Next, a user input. So user input here is different input methods. So what are the different kinds of, the user can give the inputs. See, so this is input methods are nothing but, again, it might be a tapping, or it can be a swiping, or it can be a pinching, or it can be a zooming, one thing. Second kind of information is when you are just trying to type. Say example, you are just trying to type something in a Google form, or maybe you are doing online registrations. Okay, so if you are just trying to type your name, all the related information, probably the Google forms might be very common in all kinds of applications. Maybe it will ask your name, email ID, phone number, institution name, which semester, and all those things. Okay, so in some of the online applications like this, okay, if you're just trying to type your just name, all other informations will come automatically. How easy for any end users to upload some images or upload some documents to the mobile devices. Okay, so this is all about the checkpoints. These are the 5 checkpoints that you should remember under the accessibility: overall behavior, navigation and links, page layout and contents, page definitions, and the user input. Okay, this is the second point. Next is other components: hearing, vision, speech, dexterity, and cognition. So what is this, the hearing? So in some of the mobile devices, even with a low volume, you can hear very well. But in also, in some of the high-end, in low-end devices, so you have to put your, volume to maybe 50% or 70% to hear very clearly. In some of the high-end devices, you have a noise cancellation, features. In some of the low-end devices, you might not have. How reasonably you can access or hear or speak, because you also hear, you also speak. Okay, because there are many applications where it requires you to hear, where it requires you to speak. So how does the voice clarity matters here? What kind of clarity is being made qualitative one when you are alone or when you are in a group. Okay, so that is all about the hearing. Similarly, vision. Okay, so vision depends upon the various pixels. See, many users depend on a tactile kind of a vision, audio, and other sensory alerts to access resources using mobile devices. See, people with low vision through complete blindness may shift from sliding or flipping a phone to answer it and end calls. So there might be other, options also. So there might be apps whereby just a touch screen on the device, somebody touches that screen once, then it will be on so that you can speak. Again touching, so it will be off. It's like making a mic on and off. Okay, and so correspondingly, the related hardware and software components needs to be made compatible for this. So the mobile application creators should consider adjustable font sizes, color contrast, and backlit displays. See, one is putting the contents, okay, and other is how effectively that information can be made visible. So, for example, if you are making a black background and just trying to put white information, even though contents are visible, but it looks very odd when you are putting that category or kind of informations. Okay, so when such hardwares are not available, okay, some kind of apps or plugins needs to be made enabled for such kind of people. So there should be some kind of audible kind of a feedback and notification. See, because if a person is blind, if he cannot see what is happening, there should be some kind of a notification that should alert him through a voice. Okay, so that a battery is going down or a mobile recharge is, it needs to be done. Okay, some you have got no new notification from somebody. So that kind of information should be available. So when user is getting some information, okay, so like it can be a text messaging, or it can be email, or it can be a predictive text. So these are the solutions for a speech. See, many times it so happens that you keep your mobile phones just besides you, and whenever there is any message either from WhatsApp or maybe from mails or just a normal message, you get some kind of notifications, okay, where you can put it in vibrate mode or in sound mode, okay, or you can get in some ringing mode. So whatever the way that you want to do the setting, you can do it. Okay, so and the dexterity and the cognition is nothing but, see, many people, especially senior people, will have a difficulty for various reasons with the controls on a mobile devices. The kids are more smart and more smart than us in using the mobile devices. See, a hand-free mode can limit how much the phone must be held to properly navigate, which benefits the users when they're driving, or when they don't want to hear any kind of noise from the outside. So for that, there is also a mechanism called as a voice recognition, where nowadays a voice recognition is increasingly common way to manage and handle the control. Suppose if I want to call, I can just say call XYZ, it will call. Okay, so I not go to a mobile device, open my contacts, okay, select the contact, then click on a call option. So that is not required nowadays. Okay, so like this, and of course the auto completion informations when you're typing it in the text message, etc. So there are a lot of features which are available to have an easy access for every category of users. Okay, so next is cognitive. The cognitive is nothing but how the people are thinking, remembering, and reasoning for the kind of inputs and informations that they are getting. Say, for example, say your friend has sent lot of messages for a period of 6 months, and there are certain relevant messages, relevant images, which are strongly mapping one image to another image. Say, for example, there might be images with respect to a picnic. There might be images with respect to a specific function in your department or in your institutions, or there might be some kind of a quotes. So like this, there might be different kinds of images. So if I want to see messages only with respect to a picnic, or only with respect to function or any other related matters, so I can collect everything and I can get the information. And you also know that in the mobile devices, even in the gallery, depending upon the events, depending upon the months, okay, depending upon your friends and others who have sent images or information, I mean to say pictures. So all these things can be collated at one place. This is all about cognitions. So basically, in nutshell, how easy you can provide a mobile interface to a different category of users. So this is all about accessibility. Please go to menti.com. Please go to menti.com, and I want you to answer this question. List any two features, only keywords I want, that is important to you in the mobile devices, which you feel it is very important. Use the code, same code, 28 38 25. Please answer this question. Only 5 students have answered, others